words know how to say themselves, or thoughts have an inkling they will be born, to that quiet place where the holy dwells, that place before knowing, stillness before form, where tears cannot stop, can find no ending, and crying out fills the sky. Also to that place where the earth first turns, and turning turns to bounty, and we stumble upon hope. Out of love, out of longing, you come. And in that spirit, let us worship together. Welcome to worship at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Greensboro. I'm the Reverend Sadie Lansdale, and I'm the minister of this congregation. Unitarian Universalists believe that each person has a trustworthy relationship with the Spirit, with the Holy, with the source of all life, with what some call God, though we name it and know it differently from one another. And we believe that because we are interconnected, nobody is free until we all are free. So we strive to build beloved community here in our fellowship with one another and in our work for justice. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you have found your way here, welcome. A very warm welcome to our guest musicians today, Esther Garcia and Max Goolsby. We're so happy to have you with us again. My friends, should you have your phone on in church making noise? Should you take your mask off? We're not singing as a congregation today. Our service is slightly shortened for the time being, although we are hopeful that we'll be getting back to full-length services and congregational singing in the, nearish future. If you're online and you'd like to get more connected, you can click the link in the description of this YouTube video and let us know how we can connect with you. If you're in person, you can do that too, but you can also chat with someone at the visitors table after service. If you're joining us online, go ahead and say hello in the chat. And if you're joining us in the sanctuary, won't you wave hello to everybody joining us online?
My name is Cindy Dillard, and I'm the Director of Children's and Youth Ministry. Will Fred Lehman light our chalice? Please join me in our chalice lighting words found in your order of service. We light this chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, to remind us to connect in spirituality and service, to care for each other and the world, and to create loving community. A covenant contains the promises we make to one another in response to the great gift of living, holding ourselves to these holy aspirations. Will you join me in our church covenant? We, the members of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Greensboro, do covenant to promote a search for personal meaning, respecting the individual truth in a community process of quest. Speak and act with caring, courtesy, and love, thereby maintaining emotional, physical, and spiritual safety for all. Support UUCG and denominational efforts with our resources. Combat injustice while promoting equality. Nurture our children on their spiritual journey and hold ourselves to this covenant, especially during times of conflict and disagreement.
Come thou fount of every blessing, tune thy heart to sing thy praise. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. Teach me some melodious sonnet, sung by flaming tongues above. what may come. See the lion and the young lamb dwell together in thy home. Hear the cries of war fall silent, feel our love glow like the sun, when we all serve one another, then our heaven is begun. Come thou fount of inspiration, turn our lives to higher ways, lift our gloom and desperation, show the promise of this day. Help us find ourselves in union, help our hands tell of our love. With thine aid, O fount of justice, earth be fair as heaven above. O to grace, how great a debtor daily I'm constrained to be. Let thy goodness like a fetter bind my wandering heart to thee. Prone to wander, Lord, I feel it, prone to leave the God I love. Here's my heart, oh, take and seal it for thy courts above.
How beautiful it is to be together. We gather in gratitude this morning, turning our hearts to thanks and praise for the gift of living in the presence of the Spirit that animates all life, and in the knowledge that we are powerfully, profoundly connected to all that is, all that has been, and all that will be. During these few minutes of silence, you can focus on something you're grateful for, someone you are remembering especially today, or just the sensation of your chair supporting you. We find a comfortable place in your seat and take a few easy breaths as we settle into our shared silence together. invite you now to offer the names of those people on your hearts, living or dead, near or far, that this community might hold them in prayer and in love. You can type them in the comments if you're joining us online. You can speak them now. Will you join me in prayer? Spirit of life and love, God of many names and no name, source of all. We gather grateful for another morning. We know you in the cool air, in the heat inside, in the flame of the fire, in the eyes above the masks, in the many ways we seek to stay connected, even in this time of being apart. Where we are numb from cold or difficulty or bad news, bring some feeling back into our hands and back into our hearts. Where there is sorrow, may we find good company and the space for it. Where there is joy, may we remember that it can be whispered or shouted, but that it ought to be shared. Where there is cruelty, help us not to turn away. Where there is something that is ours to do, give us the strength to do it. And in those moments of astonishing beauty and awe, remind us to be still, for this is the stuff of living. We ask these things for ourselves, for those we love, and for those we do not love. Amen.
This story is adapted from the Christian scriptures, the Gospel according to Luke.
Oh, Jesus, we're so glad you're here. Please, please, come in. I wasn't quite prepared for you to be here yet, so nothing is clean enough and the food isn't ready, but you can come sit.
Yes, come sit here and I will sit at your feet and learn from you.
Ahem, Mary. Don't you mean you will help me with all these dishes? Me, your sister Martha, whose house this is?
So
Okay, well, I'll just be over here, polishing all these dishes perfectly, making sure everything is ready, so we can all enjoy it together, I guess.
Wow, Jesus. Very interesting.
Cindy, Mike. They can't hear you online.
Wow, very interesting. These are amazing teachings. I'm going to have a lot to think about.
Okay, well, that's at least done. On to the next thing. Mary, where's my broom?
I don't know, Martha, but it's fine. Please come sit and listen.
I can't just sit and listen, because if I do, then all these important things won't get done.
They can wait, Martha. This is more important.
Jesus. Do you not care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself?
Martha, you are worried and distracted by many things, but there is only one important thing. Mary has chosen the better way, and it is not to be taken.
The end. Who does the dishes when God comes over? Growing up, I could always tell who my parents were really comfortable with because we didn't have to clean the house before they came over. My mom's best friend and her family would come over for dinner pretty often, which we loved because their children are very close in age to me and my siblings, and also because we did not have to bustle around cleaning everything up before they got there. We made dinner. Okay, my father made the dinner, and we hosted them, but we didn't try to hide the evidence of our messy lives. 3 children, 2 parents, 2 full-time jobs, a dog and or various guinea pigs can make a real mess. Martha, Martha, you are anxious and worried about many things. There is a way to hear this part of the story that's very grating. Jesus can be heard here as a man who does not understand that in order for people to eat, somebody's got to cook. There is no magic in a kitchen. There is work. That chiding tone, Martha, Martha, can land on some of our ears in a tender place, or a place boiling with rage and resentment, or a place characterized mostly by a dull resignation. It can land in that second shift place for some of us. The phrase second shift, popularized by the sociologist Arlie Hochschild, refers to the housework and childcare duties that fall most often to women in straight relationships after a day of paid work. It refers to this phenomenon where women have entered the paid workforce in full, but men have not yet begun to pull their full weight in the domestic sphere. Now, this may or may not be true in your life and in your household. Depending on the genders of everyone in your home, it may not apply. Even still, you may hear the particular concerns of your own domestic life in this story, past or present or future. People get divorced over this stuff. Unequal, inequitable, culturally assumed and enforced divisions of household labor are not some trivial issue. They are the stuff of life. On our fourth date, I made dinner for the person who would become my boyfriend, and I looked him straight in the face, and I said, "We're gonna head this off at the pass. When I cook, you clean." I am resisting the urge right now to make the joke to you about what a piece of work I must be. And my poor boyfriend, and all sorts of words we could fill in that we use to describe women who are assertive. I'm resisting the urge to make those self-deprecating jokes because what I'm trying to tell you is that I'm quite proud. I may have headed off a pretty major source of resentment and unhappiness in the relationship that I entered into. And I'm telling you this because if it's possible for me, perhaps it is yet possible for you. And if there are some adjustments that you'd like to make in your own life about who does what and how you decide, this is your permission to go home and do that. All of that is to say, the stuff of life is made up of a series of mundane tasks that have to be done and ought to be shared or distributed purposefully. This is true in the home and true in the church. There are entire anarchist collectives, which to me are some of the more inspiring visions of a different way of living together, that dissolve over who leaves their dishes in the sink and who takes on the job of cleaning up after them. It is a very big deal who does all the dishes. Martha, Martha, you are worried and distracted by many things. I have wished, oh, how I have wished, that I will become someone who cleans when they're worried, or when they want to procrastinate something important, like writing a sermon. I have colleagues who describe that on their sermon writing day, their kitchen becomes so clean, and I am envious of the clean kitchen. What a wondrous, efficient person is the anxious cleaner. What a blessed soul, the one who encounters their own fear and trembling and decides to straighten up about it. Frankly, what a better and more organized and more worthy person than the rest of us is the stress cleaner. Such person has compulsions, just like we all do, but they are so useful. I want to leave all the laundry in a basket. I want to go to a different room and read, or else I want to leave the house, the site of somehow never-ending mess, and I want to go for a walk, taking in the fresh air, or the nice weather, or the terrible weather, just surrounded by things that I personally am not responsible for cleaning up. I'm not a stress cleaner. In times of great fear or sorrow or anxiety, I have wished very badly to become one. It's possible that Martha might be doing some stress cleaning. Here's another way to hear this story. We resist the urge to fill in all of our justified baggage about how Martha feels like she's the one stuck with all the housework. It's not actually what the story says. What the story says is that God comes over to Martha's house, and she is so distracted by all of her tasks, she can't possibly take a minute to sit down with what is holy. She hasn't prepared enough, the house isn't clean enough, all the stuff she had planned to do is not yet done. This isn't really quite a convenient time for the holy to show up at her door and start going on and on about the meaning of life, or whatever wise teachings he was sharing, lovingly portrayed by Hudson Rushforth this morning. Instead of taking a breath and stepping away, Martha is angry with Mary, who shows right up and sits right down and pays attention to God. Because in the world of this story, in the Christian scripture, in the gospel according to Luke, Jesus is not just some man who does not understand the value of housework. He is God in a human body. He is the teacher of teachers, King of kings, Prince of Peace. And if there is meaning at all to life in this story, it is to sit at his feet and listen. He is turning the world upside down. And in the frame of this story, what could be holier than showing up for that? To illuminate this another way, between my first 2 years of seminary, I hiked the southern half of the Appalachian Trail to relax. At 24, relaxing was not exactly my strong suit. And I'm a little better at it now, not a lot. So by the time I got from Georgia to Virginia, I was ripping it. I was hiking like 25 miles a day from dawn to dusk. And you may know that this trail from Georgia to Maine is marked with white blazes on the trees. And there are blue blazes which indicate side trails. So I would get to the point where I'd pass a blue blaze and a sign for a side trail. And it would say something like, beautiful overlook, 0.2 miles off trail. And I'd be like, 0.2, I don't have time for that. I have to hurry. Where? North. No time to stop and pause and wonder at the majesty of the mountains that I'm walking through every day, because I gotta be somewhere. Hurrying to nowhere, racing north as fast as I could before I had to get up and go back to school. Trying to get somewhere, prove something, make all that time for leisure worth it by becoming truly exhausted, outrunning all my demons. Martha, Martha, you are anxious and distracted by many things. Did you ever learn to be anxious and distracted and call it a virtue? And if you didn't, did you learn to set it down? Did you learn to measure your days by all you have checked off, all you have done right, all you have gotten in order? Did you learn to sit at the feet of the holy? Is there a part of you that believes that if only you attend to every detail, no demons will chase you, nothing will keep you up at night, and everything will be okay? Is there a part of you that knows that isn't true? A few months ago, I was making the rounds of the retirement communities inhabited by members of our congregation, and I had the opportunity to visit with Lynette Wren. Lynette, I believe you are the eldest member of our congregation. And I asked Lynette, it was something like, what brings purpose to your days or something? And she said, that's not really a very relevant question to me. I'm in my mid-90s. So we talked instead about what brought peace to her days, or what brought joy to her days. And I feel so blessed to have received such instruction. One of the great joys of being an intentionally intergenerational community is that the spiritual tasks of the different stages of life are among us all the time. And our very eldest and our very youngest do have something to teach all the rest of us about cooling it. It is true that things have to be done. And I hope for all of us that on a practical level, there is a real reckoning on that score. But it is also true that when we are so focused on doing that, we may miss the stuff of life. Mary has chosen the better part, and it will not be taken from her. However you name it and know it, the Holy, the Spirit of life, is at your doorstep, asking to be let in and to sit with you a while, needing no preparation from you except your very presence. The Spirit is like an old friend, and you do not have to clean your house when she knocks on the door. You hear Jesus saying, Martha, Martha, you are anxious and distracted by many things. You might hear this not as a criticism, but actually as a kind of witness. Martha, Martha, you don't have to do all that. When the Spirit knocks, all you have to do is open the door and sit a while and listen. May it be so for you and so for us all. Amen.
customary tradition. Sometimes my tries are outside the lines. We've been conditioned to not make mistakes, but I can't think that way. Oh, staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find, reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself in words unspoken, live your life with your arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. Ooh, no one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself in words unspoken, live your life with your arms wide open. Today is where your book begins, the rest is still unwritten. Alright, y'all, we're about to clap. Get ready. Staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find, reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself in words unspoken, live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins, the rest is still unwritten. The rest is still unwritten. The rest is still unwritten. The rest is still unwritten.
One of the ways that we live out our mission to create loving community is to contribute financially to the ministries of this congregation and to the good work of our community partners. One of the ministries of this church is our Minister's Discretionary Fund, which is available to anyone in a tough spot, member or not. We can help with things like light bills, rent, groceries, or other needs. Reverend Sadie's email and phone number are on the back of your order of service, or you can contact the church through our website. Our offering this month goes to the Triad Health Project. They are an organization focused on ending the stigma of HIV, encouraging testing and safer sex practices, and advocating for the worth, dignity, well-being, and resources of people living with HIV. If you'd like to make a contribution via PayPal to the church for our offering to be split with the Triad Health Project, you can do so at the link in the description of this video. You can also mail a check. Ushers will come forward to collect the offering with long baskets. Our offering will now be safely, gratefully received. Will you join me in our chalice extinguishing words? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
You may have heard that we had a matching gift drive for our endowment fund. A gift was offered of $400,000, and we raised enough money to match that and to contribute to the endowment fund. What I want to tell you, though, is I'm going to tell you a lot of numbers, but first I'm going to tell you what they mean. What all these numbers mean is that a lot of people give a little in order to raise that money, which is really rather quite a big deal. This tells us something about our commitment to the future of the congregation. It tells us something about people believing that a small contribution can do a lot if there are enough of them. So here are some numbers about the money. We had 2 donors give $50. We had 28 give from $100 to $500. We had 1 give $750. We had 13 give $1,000 to $2,850. We had 3 people give $3,000, 1 give $4,000, and 1 give $5,000. So I just want to share this with you and to congratulate once again the Endowment Committee, Merritt Waite, Emily Batchelor, Suzanne Deering, and to congratulate all of you, especially those of you who gave a little. Because what you did was you said, well, it might not do the whole trick, but I can help. And if enough of us do that, there is no end to what we can accomplish together. So congratulations, especially to the Committee on Endowment and to all of you who contributed. This is really good news. And our Keeley Park gathering is on. We were iced or snowed or colded out 3 weeks in a row, but we will be at Keeley Park at 2 o'clock to sing, drink hot chocolate, hang out, and play outside. So this is another way we're just trying to be a creative, intergenerational community. You might notice there are not a whole ton of small children in here, and we hope to see them and their families at the park. But everyone's invited. And then finally, we're trying something new. So in your order of service, you'll see this little insert, this little piece of paper. It says reflection questions on it. And this is for your edification. This is your opportunity to think either now or later about what moves you in the service, what comes up for you, and what you think the Spirit is calling for you to do. So we're going to try this for a little while as a way to create more time for your pondering and your exploration of what our worship service is teaching you and what your faith means to you. So in that spirit, though you may be anxious, though you may be distracted by many things, remember that it is the better part to sit and wonder at the feet of the holy. And may the occasion for you to do so be made clear in this week. Go in peace. Amen. You can place your hands over your hearts for a benediction hymn, Shalom Havarим. This is a Hebrew song that means peace, dear friends, until we meet again.
Shalom.
Oh, I know I got my hair cut.